Thank you very much. Throughout my presentation, inshallah, I'll try to walk you through the research status, the nursing research status here in Saudi Arabia. But to overview the nursing research status here in Saudi Arabia, we'll have to go through the research profile of Saudi Arabia as well. So this is my interest, research and publication and journals and journal management. And I've been working on this for the last, I'll say, 10 years. And I love research, and it's actually my passion, and I do it on a daily basis. Well, sorry. So we don't have anything here. All right. So, well, in order to, as I mentioned to you, in order to cover the research status of nursing here in Saudi Arabia and how does it go, and the research profile of the nursing and the publications which is going out by nurses here in Saudi Arabia, I'll walk you through the G20, as Saudi Arabia is one of the G20, and they have a very nice report that they publish every year. It's being published by ISI, annual, they call it annual G20 scorecard, the research performance of 2022, and they do publish it every year. And they cover the research profile of Saudi Arabia and all of the countries of the G20. And then we will go through the research activities of, the nursing research activities in Saudi Arabia. And I did, for the purpose of this, presentation, I did a systematic review to examine the numbers, the characteristics of the research publication of PubMed-cited articles, contributed from authors and co-authors from Saudi Arabia and internationally. And I did that between 2012 and 2022, for the last decade. And I also investigated the number of nursing publications as per year, study design, journal impact factor, and the international collaboration. Well, for the G20, for those who do not know the G20, as Saudi Arabia, as I mentioned to you earlier, that is one of the members of the G20. It represents 65% of the worldwide of the world population. Also, it produces 80% of the global GDP. Also, the G20, which consists of 19 countries, in addition to the European Union, they spends almost 93% of the global R&D, and they employs around 89% of the world's researchers. And we'll be able to know this throughout the report also. And they publish, in terms of research and research performance, they publish almost 82% of the global research papers as per their report. Okay, this is a barcode of the annual report for 2022. If you are interested, you can read through it. As I mentioned to you earlier, it's produced by the ISI, the Institute for Scientific Information. It has all the research profiles of the G20 countries, including Saudi Arabia as well. Well, we always say that, we do have a lack of research, and key of successful in research is collaboration. Collaboration is key of successful. Number one in research. In order to increase the research output, we do have to collaborate with each other. I'm talking about collaboration nationally and internationally as well. So they have indicated this in their report, that they've mentioned, for example, in Saudi Arabia, more than 4/5 of output is now internationally collaborative, with the local output having more than doubled between 2018 to 2021. This leads to an impact well above world average if the collaboration is considered. And however, impact is around the world average. Open access output is strong in the most fields, and generally it tracks just above the G20 average. That's a good indication by the ISI report. And as I mentioned to you earlier, that collaboration is a key successful for research. To increase the research output among all the fields, including nursing as well. And the other point which they have indicated over here is the open access journals. We do have like two types of journals. The first is the closed access journal, and the second is, open access journals. We used to have almost 1 million, for example, output of research publication per year between 1996 until 2003. And then from 2004 until 2016, this number was doubled into like 2.5 millions. Nowadays, we've reached to almost 16 million publications per year, research publication per year. And this is due to collaboration as well as due to the open access. We do have like so many open access journals, and the review process is the same in the open access and the closed access. However, the average of publications in the closed access takes up to about 270 days, while it takes up to 4 weeks sometimes or 6 weeks in open access journals. Well, again, collaboration international is an increasingly common trait for academic research since 1980s. I've just mentioned that. And collaboration can transfer access and equipment and finance as well, and tackle a global scale issues such as pandemic. And we have, such as COVID-19, for example. And we have, been through the pandemic, the COVID-19, and we have seen, the total, the tremendous number of publications during the pandemic, and it's due to actually collaboration. We work in the clinical areas and we work in research, and we do have so many, we come across so many international studies that are being conducted all over the world, or in multiple countries, including, for example, Saudi Arabia, where they approach us to conduct a study in. For example, in one of the centers. So some of the leading nations in terms of scientific publishing, like the G20, with their established research economy, presents a favorable partners for other nations to seek collaboration with. And over like 2 pages, in the report, they use statistics to report or to indicate, utilizing numbers and frequencies and percentage, as well as some statistics and graphs and tables in order to overview the research output or the research profile of each country. And here's the research profile of Saudi Arabia, where they indicate, the output of the collaboration, the output of the open access, the total number of, say, for example, the total number of the researchers, active researchers in the kingdom, as well as the output per field, including medical field. There is nothing, nursing is part of the medical field, including medical field, and also the output by discipline itself. And the numbers are quite good if we look at it. And the graphs and the statistics is quite good, especially if we compare it with the other countries. We do live actually on the, towards achieving the 2030 vision. And one of the most important parameters, one of the most important themes of 2030 vision is research, and concentrating research and innovation. And back in March 2021, the Higher Committee for Research, Development and Innovation which is linked to the Council of Economic and Development Affairs, was established. And it looks after the innovation and development and research, and looking after research and supporting research as well here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, in 2020, for example, among the G20 countries, according to the report itself, there were like more than 3 million patents, and Saudi Arabia was ranked the 10th, as you can see over here. This doesn't work. Okay. So in terms of population, Saudi Arabia was ranked 18. In terms of patents, the total number of patents which were registered in Saudi Arabia were more than 6,000. Okay, were more than 6,000, and also it was ranked the 12th in terms of the patents per population, and actually the rank was a bit better in 2021 where Saudi Arabia was ranked 11 in terms of patent per population. Well, if we talk about publications, as I mentioned to you earlier, that we do have more than 15 or 16 millions of publication per year. Scientific publication per year, and documents being recorded. So Saudi Arabia was ranked also the 10th in terms of, the total number of scientific research output coming out of the country, with more than 119,000 publication in 2020. To this number also was increased, and placing it at the same rank, the 10th, with a total of 143 or more than 143 publication in 2021. We have gone through the pandemic, as I mentioned to you earlier, and there were so many publications, and it was actually a very good time or a period of research publication during the pandemic. Myself, I benefited from this, and we've published so many articles due to the pandemic. And they have, we used to have so many publications. There is a record that more than 200 publications by December 2020 were out. And Saudi Arabia was ranked the first regionally and the 17th globally in the coronavirus research. And this counts actually for 1.8 of the total publications in coronavirus. A global research production. And this, among this 1.8%, a total of 83.4% of the kingdom was, production related to the universities. The universities produced those sort of, COVID-19 research-related articles. Well, towards the nursing, or the, in order for me to determine and evaluate the current state of the research output here in Saudi Arabia, I did a systematic review, for the sake of this presentation. So I wanted to examine the numbers, or the total numbers of, and the characteristics of the PubMed cited nursing research articles contributed from Saudi Arabia as a product of collaboration or without collaboration. And I did this between 2012 and 2022, the last 10 years. And I also investigated the number of publication as per the specialty, as per the year, the study design, and the journal impact factor, and the international collaboration, if there is any international collaboration due to this, publication. So I included all the studies between 2012 to 2022, and I excluded the other periods, before this and after it. And also, I included only the English language, and also the research location which was conducted in Saudi Arabia, and also I included the Saudi authors. So in terms of the keywords, I used Kingdom Saudi Arabia, nursing, nurses. Also, I determined the articles through reviewing the evaluations and the titles and the abstracts of each and every article which was included in the systematic review. And I classified them actually to, articles which came out from Saudi Arabia and articles which came out of as a sort of, or as a product of international collaborations. And also, I classified them if they belong to nursing articles or multidisciplinary articles. And I also classified them according to the field, whether they are a clinical practice, if the study was related to a clinical, or an academic if it's related to the management or any kind of education. Nursing education, or or any type of social topics. Sorry, right. So, and I also collected the information related to the study design, the impact factor, and the specialty, as I mentioned to you. Now, this is the table that I came up with, or the results that I came up with throughout the systematic review. It's quite a small number of publications. Research outcome publication by nurses, mainly in Google Scholar, and this is anticipated actually because Google Scholar, it includes indexed and non-indexed journals, while PubMed has restrictions to include journals, and CINAHL has also more like restrictions to include journals as it belongs to nursing only. So there were like quite a few publications came out throughout, I mean, if we're talking about 10 years. Well, in terms of the country, mainly they were from Saudi Arabia. In terms of the academic or clinics, they were like similar in percentage if we like classify them into clinical practice research or academic. And also mainly the studies were review studies. Or if we take into this, into account like observational studies, including cross-sectional studies. But there were like a few studies, interventional studies or qualitative or utilizing triangulation designs. Well, in terms of impact factor, a total of 177 journals of 269 journals had impact factor, and the rest didn't have an impact factor. And the median of the impact factor was around 1.6 plus or minus. And this is like anticipated because the highest impact factor of nursing journal is 5. And in terms of also Q1 to Q4, it was about 0.5. Now, the publication numbers of nursing is low and needs to be maximized. As I mentioned to you, that this can be done through collaboration. Collaboration is a key successful for research. And also, as an example, nurses who works in the clinical area are quite busy and they don't have to conduct research, and they are not academically trained to conduct research. However, the academicians, for example, so those who work in the academia, they do have the time and they do have the training, but they don't have a patient flow. So if they can collaborate with each other, then they can increase the number of research output. The impact profile reflects a policy orientation towards international collaboration, and most of the published papers are like domestic. And also the domestic research has not yet seen the benefits of the investments, especially if we're talking about the 2030 vision, and research is one of the most important themes, research and innovation. And research input as well as impact by the nursing discipline needs to be improved. And this can be done through like increasing the data generation and in order to utilize it for research. Also access to life pertaining medicines, and also a clinical or training and development of nurses in order for them to conduct research. This was my time, and thank you very much. Thank you.